be a little bit late. Let's see. It is 6:03 p.m. on Wednesday, August 11th, 2021. All right. I'm calling the meeting to order. Roll call. Jack Leary.
Present.
Al Jagir, present. Mark Goodness will be on shortly. Casey Bruby.
Present.
And Mark Rosati is not on yet. And Steve Michaleb's not on. I don't know if he'll be able to make tonight's meeting. Okay, moving on. Report from City Engineer. We'll put that aside. Item 4, report from Department of Public Works. Casey Bruby. Casey, you have the floor.
Not much to report. Lou Belzic was out on Little River grubbing the slope, mulching it. Erosion controls have been deployed for conservation. He was last checked going to try and get a couple of the trees down this afternoon. I'm not sure where he left off, but he'll likely be back at it tomorrow.
Right. Okay, thank you, Casey. Anything else?
Casey, did he have enough erosion control equipment?
He had enough straw wattle. We didn't pick up additional, so he seemed to have enough.
Perfect.
Good.
That was going to be one of my questions for you, Casey. Okay, let's see. Any other questions, Jack, for Casey?
No, I just asked one.
Yep, perfect. And Casey, I have nothing else other than, have you heard of any more beaver activity up on the north side at all, or no?
No.
Not recently. I can inquire though, and we can monitor the water levels in the waterways.
Yeah, I kind of stroll through there every so often, and I know Mark Goodness does more often than I, because he's up in that area all the time. And I didn't see anything, but I didn't know if you'd heard of renewed activity given all the rain. Maybe they kind of had a good year. Bad year for us, good year for them. All right, moving on to item 6, report from Westfield Emergency Management. Steve is not with us at this time, so I will put that aside. Bills. All right, we have 2 bills that I'm aware of. One of them is for Westfield Gas and Electric, but we don't have our quorum at the moment, so that's on hold. And then the other bill is for mowing and grooming that was delayed, and we'll put that aside as well. Moving on to item 8, old business, Powder Mill Brook and Armbrook Dam Rehabilitation Project update. As of right now, I still have nothing from the NRCS. I think because of all of Congress's wrangling of funds, I know they just approved their budget there. So we might hear soon if funds were appropriated by Congress to the NRCS side of the rehabilitation. And if they're there, I know Kelly Pease and John Bielis are working toward trying to secure us money through ARPA to cover the city's portion. And we'll go from there. Let's see, item 9. Oh, also, just one little side note on Armbrook and Powder Mill. Oh, we got another number popping in. Mark Goodness, is that you? *6.
Al, can you hear me now?
Yes, Mark. Good. We got you. Mark Goodness. Roll call. Mark Goodness.
I'm here.
Perfect. Okay, we have a quorum. All right. We were just discussing Powder Mill Brook and Armbrook Dam rehabilitation.
Yep, it's
on. Rehabilitation update, and I have no new updates. As you may have heard, the Congress just finished up their budget, so there may be hopefully money in there appropriated for the NRCS to start their side of it. And pending what happens in the State House, Kelly Pease and John Bielis are working toward getting us the state level funds through ARPA.
Ooh.
Okay. And just to get you kind of up to speed, Mark Crosati's not with us yet. I hadn't seen any emails from him. I gotta actually check, see if I got an email or any emails, because I haven't looked today. And then we had bills, which I put aside because we didn't have a quorum. We can come back to that in a minute. Okay. Item 9, Williams Riding Way flood control pump station tide flex backflow prevention valve. So that was a question that went out to Mark. Mark was, we had voted on it. Mark was going to look into getting a contractor to professionally assess it. And I haven't heard anything from Mark yet. And Mark's not here to answer to it. So we'll move on to item 10.
If I
Contract
can weigh
bid.
in on that, Al.
Absolutely, Casey, go ahead.
Yeah, so we met with, Joe and I met with Ty and Bonds, their engineers, who's going to be assessing the discharge pipe from the flood control pump station. So we did mention it as part of that, he wanted to do a walkthrough so that once they do the harvest of the field there, we're looking to access and do the assessment of the pipe integrity. And that was actually, Joe and I met and we kind of discussed and did look at the backflow preventer. So it might be
Okay.
something we can kind of potentially fold into this same project.
Oh, that would
So
be good.
we'll continue that conversation.
Okay. Yeah. If you can have whatever Ty and Bond's got going on, if you can ask them to include me on those emails, just so I have an idea what's going on, because I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Joe's been kind of our point person on it, but we'll certainly cue you or copy you in on it.
All right. I appreciate that, Casey.
Yep.
Okay. So moving on to actually, does anyone have any other questions for Casey on that
No.
Nope.
before I move on? Okay. Perfect. Item 10, contract bid award for mowing and grooming of the Westfield Flood Control Commission flood control properties. All right. So I know Mark Crosati had asked about, he made inquiry with Tammy about other potential bidders that had pulled papers but not made a bid. But as of right now, we only have one active bid, and that bid was from our current contractor, Ed and Joe Lubelzik, or Ed Lubelzik and Son. They're our current contractor, and well, I guess they're not our current contractor, but we were contracted with them for the past several years and for many years before that. And we also have contracted with them more recently with the Little River levee clearing, as Casey had alluded to earlier, for that section that we've been trying to get sorted out. So let me find that paperwork for that. Bear with me. I got like 4 folders to kind of fish through. One of them has it. That's not it. Where did I put it? Sorry, folks. I was just looking at it last night, and I probably put it in the wrong spot. All right, I'll do this. I'll just open up the file. Nope, that's not it. Bear with me 1 second here. I'm having fun trying to find the file, even on my
Well, you want to go back to the items for paying the bills while you look for it? We can discuss it while you're looking.
No. We'll do this because I can't do two things at the same time while I'm physically looking and talking. Just bear with me 1 minute because I have it. Worse, I'm looking at my emails now because I know it's there. I'll find it one way or another. Okay, there we go. I have a lot of emails to sift through on that. Okay, I've got it right here. Just waiting for it to load up. Okay, so it's for bid number 21-031, and it's for Powder Mill Brook Flood Control Dam Section 1, Arm Brook Flood Control Dam Section 2, section of Little River Levee Section 3, which is the Army Corps section that we have to maintain to their local cooperation agreement. Westfield River Levee Section 4, Westfield River Levee Section 5, Westfield River Levee Section 6, Westfield River Levee Section 7, Westfield Floodway Section 8, Westfield Floodway Section 9. Total for contract is $55,350.00. Now, that was for 3 mowings. The contract is only for 2. We used to have a mowing contract for 3, and we reduced it to 2. So when you break down the numbers, they had itemized each mowing, and because of that, each mowing broken down doesn't cause any problems with the contract because they itemized each mowing. So for section 1, it's $1,750. Section 2 is $1,975. Section 3 is $1,275. Section 4 is $1,975. Section 5, which is one of the sections of the Westfield River Levee, is $5,925. Section 5 is another section of the levee. I'm sorry, back that up. I'm reading off the wrong line. $1,975. Section 5 is $4,175. Section 6 is $1,475. Section 7 is $2,000. Section 8 is $2,150. And Section 9 is $1,675. And that comes to, for 2 mowings, $36,900. So it's $900 more than we appropriated for our mowing and grooming contract. So would anyone like to say anything about this contract before we?
Well, I think very basically, it was opened by Central Purchasing. It was well notified throughout all the people who would be interested, all the companies. As you said, more than one did request the application and read it over, but only one filed it as a complete of what they're going to do. Now, there was some confusion that he put in for all 3 mowings, which was what the past had. But the thing that saved his grace is that he listed each separate mowing. So you had 1, 2, 3, and then the total.
Correct.
And as you said, it's $900 more per year than what we had in for my last 3 years, which is, when considering fuel costs and other expenses, very reasonable. From my understanding, and I've only been on the commission a little less than 2 years, is that he does an excellent job. What I've seen, I agree with that statement. And I think we therefore should make a motion to accept the bid for the 2 years at the $900 more than we paid. So it was $36,900 if we had it right, correct?
Correct. $36,900.
So I'll make that motion that we accept 2 biddings maybe we should give it for each one. Make a motion that we accept two biddings. The first one to cost, give me the number.
The total contract is 36,900 is what we would be approving.
So you want that? Okay, $36,900 for two mowings.
Yep.
At the dates that are set in the contract.
Yes.
Okay,
I
I'll
made it a
second
We
it.
have a
motion, so
second.
moved.
Yep. I'm sorry, Mark Goodness.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a second. Do we have any further discussion?
No, I think we pretty well covered it.
Mark Goodness, anything?
Nothing here. We've covered it.
Okay. So just to add a little bit to it, I know Mark Crosati had voiced concerns about the contract because there was delays at the end of the fiscal year and the contractor wasn't able to get all of the mowing done, but he did mow it, and I will discuss that in bills shortly. But he had a health issue. His father had a health issue with surgery on his hand, and then we had all the rain, so made it it really wasn't safe or reasonable for him to mow for a good portion of the June to July 1st timeframe. And then he had an issue, and I shouldn't laugh because it's not funny. Somebody vandalized his tractor, and he had debris in the fuel system, and had to take his tractor back to the shop where he lives out in the Ware area, and had to take the fuel system apart and go through everything, and then put it all back together, and then bring it back, and that cost him time and fuel, and more delays. So, but as soon as he was able to, he got back in there and started working. So, and I'll say he's moved through all of the flood control sites and has been working at Little River Levee. So anyway, with that, we have a motion on the floor made by Jack Leary. It was seconded by Mark Goodness. Roll call vote. Mark Goodness.
Yes.
Jack Leary.
Yes, yes.
Al Jaguar. Yes. Motion carries. We are approving the contract for the mowing and grooming to Ed Lubelzik and Son in the amount of $36,900. Okay. Now, we can go back to bills, and this is a little caveat in the bills. So we have one bill for Westfield Gas and Electric for the usual I think it's $169. It hasn't gone up. I don't have it right in front of me. Hang on one second, and I'll pull it up. Let's see. Westfield Gas and Electric. Let's see. Open file. We have a bill for $165. That's what the amount is. $165 to Westfield Gas and Electric for the month of July.
I'll make a motion to pay July's bill of $165.
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Okay, we have a
Second.
second. Second by Mark Goodness. Motion made by Jack Leary. Any further discussion?
No, it's
Hearing none.
obvious that it's
Yep, I know.
every month.
But I still am going to ask. Roll call vote. Jack Leary.
Yes.
Mark Goodness.
Yes.
Al Jaguar, yes. Motion carries. We'll pay the gas and electric bill. Now, the other bill we have is for Ed Lubelzik and Son. Now, due to the situation that they had, they weren't able to mow, but he's been catching up on the mowing and is pretty much done, plus has begun what we had contracted for on Little River Levee. Now, they submitted a bill for, and I'll tell you what it is. It is purchase order 2211197-00 in the amount of 11,000. Hold on, that ain't right. Is that right? $10,425. I'm not sure what this other one's for, but it's for $10,425 for mowing and grooming. I know our budget's really tight, and I don't believe we encumbered this money from last year's budget. So we have a bill before us for mowing and grooming. Do we want to pay this
No,
bill?
that's for what? I want to clarify, that's for all those different parcels, all 9 or 10 of them?
Yes. Yep. That's for catching
No,
up on the
Al.
mowing. Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Question. Wasn't that money encumbered when we approved the contract for last year?
That's a good question for Tammy. I don't know. It might be. I'd have to ask Tammy. I'm not 100% sure that it was, though, because I didn't have any conversations with her about it, and to be honest, I didn't even put it together in my head with all the other budget stuff that was going on. I probably should have, but I also thought that Joe was going to get it finished up in time. So
Okay, I make the motion to pay the bill.
On that one there, we don't know for sure whether it was encumbered last year because of the contract, the way it was stipulated, or
Right.
if because we didn't get it held over, and that's if, not
Right.
knowing, but if we
right.
didn't get it held over. I would say, therefore, we check that out before we make a vote or a motion even, or make a conditional motion that if it wasn't encumbered, then may take it from this year's budget, but not just say vote to pay it. I would condition it.
I agree. And I think that latter one is the better one. I don't believe it
Yes,
was. I don't
agree.
believe.
I withdraw my motion.
Excuse me?
What was that, Mark? Goodness.
Then I withdraw my motion. He is correct.
Okay. So I don't believe it was encumbered because I believe it was the contract is conditional at the end of the conclusion of the fiscal year. And I didn't have any conversations, and we didn't have any conversations as a commission to hold over and encumber that money. So I believe it conditionally ran out at the end of the fiscal year, according to the contract.
But you're not sure. You think,
I'm
or are
correct.
you sure?
Okay. I'm 99% sure that the contract stipulates that it
Okay,
needs to be
I
done.
don't like voting on something
right,
that
right.
we're
Hold
not
on, Jack.
100% sure,
Right. Hold
unless
on.
you condition it. That if,
Right.
and I think Mark made the motion, so you can rephrase it. So
Correct.
it's on the condition that it was not encumbered, we therefore would pay. And Mark's already made it, so I'm not going to cut him off there. Mark,
Right.
go ahead.
No, Jack, I withdrew my motion.
Right. Motion was withdrawn, Jack, and that was going to be my suggestion, that we pay the bill. If it was encumbered, so be it. I don't believe it was, and if it's not encumbered, we pay it out of this year's budget, which stinks, but it's got to get done either way.
Okay,
Go ahead, Jack.
well, okay, so let me rephrase or epitome what I think you said. So you're saying this, we pay that bill, the number you gave, 10,000 what?
Hold on. Got to pull it up on my phone again. Just shut off. $10,425.
Okay, $10,425. Pay on with the condition that it was not encumbered in last year's budget.
Right.
And I think Mark can. That's his motion, I believe, because he's the one who's making it.
No,
I don't want to cut him off.
Mark Goodness withdrew his motion, Jack. There is no motion on the floor. He withdrew his motion.
Okay, then I made the motion that we would pay that bill with the condition or the stipulation that it was not already encumbered in last year's budget period. And that's for the 10,600, I believe is the number.
10,425.
There's the key words there that it was not encumbered. We pay it only if it's not encumbered. And therefore, you got to check it out to make sure. Not just.
Well, right. I understand that, Jack. I get that.
I move then. I need a second.
Yep. We'll get a
I second
second.
the motion.
Made
I
a
second the
seconded by Mark Goodness. Motion by Jack Leary. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Well, I think it's unfortunate that the timing, and it's not their fault because of weather conditions. I think you mentioned that he was in there with some equipment that got almost stuck in the wet soils, the mud, and therefore, you can only do so much depending on the condition of the ground that you're working on. And also you mentioned his health and you mentioned his injuries, etc. So it's a very understandable. I think he does a good job. And We owe it to them, we should pay it. But again, if it's not already encumbered,
Right. I agree.
that's
And
my thought.
Yep. And I will sort that out with Tammy. But I don't believe it's encumbered, but the motion's made. Roll call vote. Mark Goodness,
Yes.
Jack Leary,
Yes.
Al Jaguar, yes. So we'll take care of that. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. It was a little confusing, but I believe it was not encumbered. I believe in the contract, and I don't have the full contract in front of me to read it, but I believe it's almost verbatim from this contract to the last contract about being conditional to July 1st.
I was just cautious when you use the words, I believe.
Yes, I know. I understand. But it's the best I have to give you at the moment.
And that's the best motion I could give you back. That's my sense of humor.
Fair enough, Jack. Okay, let's see. That was that. Item 11. We'll go move back from bills to item 11 under old business update. Notice of intent, EEA grant, tree clearing and debris removal on portion of Little River Levee. So as Casey said at the beginning of the meeting in his report, Joe Lubelzik and Ed have been down there clearing on that section of the levee that we had our notice of intent for. Meredith was down there and looked at it. We had done some of our own work down there with assistance from Casey with some equipment and some other assistance. And
Yeah, my chair.
yes, the chair, very nice. And again, thank you, Casey, for all of your help with that. We appreciate that.
No worries. Happy to help.
We buzz cut in the two paths, put in the markers, got it all done. And it made Joe's life a lot easier when he got there to do the clearing. So he's been in there working, as Casey had said, taking care of a lot of the brush, cutting a lot of those big vines, mowing and grooming that whole section out, save for the biggest of trees. And Casey, he's going to start working on those 7 big trees, correct?
Yes, he's we're supposed to start this evening or this afternoon. He was hoping to start.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I had been down there the other day to talk to, yesterday, as a matter of fact. I stopped down and met him while he was down there working and had a good conversation with him and Ed, Joe and Ed. And they kind of outlined where they were and what they were looking to do. So, and I must say, that section of levee looks pretty good. It's a lot better than I expected it to look. I expected it to be pretty war torn. And once all the stuff was removed out of there, it looks much better than I anticipated. So
You mean we can see through it now, Al?
you can see through it, but I mean the actual topography of the levee itself, it is,
Yeah.
there's no big scallops out of it. There's no blowouts in it. And
Ooh.
it's in line with the rest of the Army Corps section of levee, which is what I suspected. I believed that whole piece was actually worked on when Army Corps came in, because I can't see how it would have been feasible for them to do any work on the damaged section, the 83 section that we have the local cooperation agreement for, without having some access from the road. So, but the good news is that whole piece looks fantastic. And as Casey said, he's got the wattles in there. So it looks good. It looks good. A lot of those heavy bittersweet vines and the what's that other plant there? The something knotweed. That's it. The knotweed, Japanese knotweed there. It's pretty extensive through there, but with his machines, he buzzed through that pretty quickly. So yeah, we finally got it underway.
Good question.
Sure.
The wattles that were just put in.
Yep.
Have they been checked and approved by Meredith from Concom? You're supposed to have one to check the area that we had the right 9,000 square feet, but then the second, she had 2 checks to do. Then the check to make sure that the wattles were placed appropriately for the work.
Correct. I know.
Did she check that?
I can't answer to that. I don't know. I know that Joe Lubelzik was reaching out to her yesterday when he started work, and he couldn't get through to her. And I don't know if she was able to stop down there today. I haven't seen or heard anything. I don't know if
Joe
Casey
better
did.
be cognizant of the fact that she must approve him before he starts to do any of the final stages of the work, because that's one of the requirements in our NOI.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jack. Um,
I can say that they were deployed in the agreed upon location. So I don't know that she made it out there. I know, you know, with her realm of responsibility, you know, covering 47 square miles of potential projects and violations, you know, it's a hard schedule to keep up with. But I'll reach out to her tomorrow and see if she's got a chance to kind of take a look at how things are developing there, and if needed, Public Works can assist in, you know, stabilizing any disturbed surfaces.
Thank you, Casey.
Okay, that's fantastic, Casey. I just want to make sure we've been working with COMCOM, and with all we have to do, we're going to be going back to COMCOM many, many times the next few years, and I want to keep a good relationship and follow things right to the letter of the law. And I think that is one of the clear things was it's twice he has to approve. Once the 9,000 square feet, say, yes, that's appropriate. And then the wattle is being placed in the appropriate area. And I'm not too sure if she's had the chance to do that. I agree with you. She's one busy lady.
Yeah. And I know, and I will say, we had a phone conversation, four-way phone conversation the other day, Casey, Joe, Meredith, and myself, talking about all the details on that site. And Meredith seemed to be in agreement with what was laid out and where everything was going. And, you know, basically Casey just described it. So, I don't expect any issues. I know Joe has been very careful to kind of do what he needed to do. I'm sorry, what was that, Casey?
I'd just like to add that it was largely dominated by invasive species down there. So
Right.
the vegetation removal, like, we're not hurting native species per se. He's basically grinding up knotweed and bittersweet. You know, that's the biggest, you know, local flora that's taken over that area. So
Right.
I think she's appreciative of those efforts. I think she'd like to have a larger effort to kind of get that under control, but I think that's outside of the range of this commission to try and tackle that and the levee structure. So,
Right. Yeah, and I will say that the bittersweet vines, when I was cutting in part of that section, I had to cut through a pretty healthy section of bittersweet, and the parent bittersweet vine was over 2 inches in diameter. So it was a pretty incredible section of bittersweet.
and we can't discount the poison ivy either, Al.
Oh, that, yeah. I noticed there's even more of it after he got done with what he was working in, getting the area cleared out for the wattles, and there was a lot more than I even anticipated. So, but fortunately, none of us got poison ivy, so it's all good.
Don't
So
jinx
that's
us.
what's that?
Don't jinx us.
Yeah. And when I was talking with Joe Lubelzik, in front of the culverts, he was confident that he could get most of the woody debris, the tree logs and other sort of junk that's kind of piled up in front of him. He was pretty sure he could get most of it out. Some of it he might have a problem and have to abandon it, which is what he said originally. But because there's a couple logs that are essentially it's the whole tree and it's down in the river, and for him to try to reach in there with his equipment, you know, he might lose his equipment into the river, and that would just be a big problem for everybody. So, and we went into it understanding that. So, some of the debris that was there in that log jam in front of the culverts did move out in the last flooding event, but some more moved in. But he's pretty confident that he can get the debris that's immediately in front of those out, and that'll assist with Ty and Bond when we contract with them to come in and do the engineering assessments on the culvert. So,
I think it should be noted also that there's a tremendous and continuing erosion problem that's
yes.
occurring at that location and
Yep.
up and down from that location.
Yeah, I was going to address that in observations.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. You didn't know. So that's pretty much it on that, unless somebody has something else about the work that's going on down there. Hearing nothing,
No.
I'll move on to item 12, purchase of compost fill wattles via DPW for Little River Levee worksite erosion control. So Casey, what is the total that we would owe you for this? And if you can get that in some billable form, we can vote to pay for that.
I don't have that exact figure, but we're probably in like the $500 to $600 range for consumed erosion controls.
Okay. If you can get that to me, and Tammy, and kind of work that out, I'm expecting to have another meeting sometime in the next few weeks because we have there was a project on on East Main, and it was going to come before this commission, hopefully today. But the applicant doesn't have all of his comp storage stuff sorted out, and he had told me that he's expecting to have it sometime within the next couple weeks. The only issue I have there is that I will not be able to have a meeting on the last full week of August. I will be unavailable. So, but with that, yeah, I think we should, we can reimburse your department for those costs. And then I don't know if it would be a good idea for the Flood Control Commission to purchase some ahead of time, just in case we need it again for something, or is that something that DPW can readily get?
Why don't we see how it plays out with the 10,400 with that whole thing? I mean, I can eat the cost of the erosion controls. We use it for, we routinely go through these. It's part of any project around any wetland. So,
yep.
They're ongoing costs for us, so it's not that hard for me to eat it. So,
Okay.
but moving forward, yeah, I mean, certainly the contract is available online. It's on the shared drive. I can send you the contract. It's got everything that we buy through this vendor, and
Okay.
they actually were awarded a new contract because it was up for renewal. So EJ Prescott won it again. So that's kind of our go-to person or people, if you will, company. And they're right over in Springfield. So we can get pretty much what we need when we need,
Oh, perfect.
It's 20 to 30 minutes away,
Yep.
Call it an hour round trip. So,
yep.
Hey, Casey, are any of those wattles reusable, or are they destroyed in the process of doing the flood control erosion?
So what they are is like a straw-filled plastic mesh. And so at the completion of the project, typically what we'll do is just cut the plastic, take the plastic, throw it in the trash, and then we just kind of distribute like it's a chopped up straw, if you will. So it just acts as like it's almost like a mulch kind of.
Yep.
And we just kind of sprinkle that all over any of the worked on area. And then it's a nice kind of retains the moisture, helps bed whatever is going to naturally fill in there.
Oh, okay. So it's used one time. That's it.
Yeah. We pull them out. It's not like, the thing with silt fence is people put it up and they kind of just move on. And then you got this big sheet of black plastic that with stakes that isn't really doing anything. And it's almost like pollution. So this is a little bit different than that. It's, you stake it in, it's easy to deploy. When you're done with it, you pull the stakes and you cut the wattles and you just spread the material that's inside them right on the, area of work.
Okay. Thanks for the answer. That clarifies it for me.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Jack. And Casey, my question was only because I was anticipating future work and seeing if it would be worthwhile for us to purchase that ahead of time. But if the city's got a contract, then it's pretty much a set price.
So plan on, if needed, utilizing our stock. And
Yep.
we can always replenish if necessary.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yep, no, it makes perfect sense because I'm imagining that whenever we get to the culvert repair, we're probably going to need a lot of it. But then again, that might come into however tie and bond works in the contract. We might not have to worry about it directly. So, so anyway, so that's a good deal there. There's one other thing, Casey, that just popped in my head, and I know we moved out of item 11, but on the erosion control, one of the things that we had discussed was putting grass seed out on the levee. I know there's ongoing work right now, but what is DPW's capability with grass seed at this current time?
Yeah, we can assist with that. We can, when we break down the wattles, we could just seed the area and sow it in with the straw.
Okay. Because I don't have a monstrous supply, but I have a 50-pound bag somewhere of grass seed, I believe. That was it was Army Corps supplied. So I have this giant bag. It's like clover and different stuff mixed in for erosion control. I have to find it because I'm not sure where I put it. It's probably in my basement, but I have that. I don't know what you guys have for supply on hand or if it's something we need to purchase. But I just want to get that taken care of because I know that was one of our conditions from Concom.
Okay, yeah, if you want to use what you've got, that's fine.
Yep.
We can send somebody to pick it up for you, or if you want to drop it off at some point when you next inspection.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get it deployed. Especially once Meredith sets fresh eyes on it, and if she wants to see something happen, we'll make amendment or do what we need to do. And at wrap up, I mean, show's gonna be done. Lou Belzic, I should say, will be done shortly. So, the next week or two, we'll figure out what we need to do. We'll get it stabilized and close out the project.
Perfect. Thank you, Casey. I know a 50-pound bag won't go very far, but anyway, okay. Thank you, Casey. All right, moving on to new business, communications. All right, so communications wise, I don't have anything other than our grant, which we discussed previously. I do know that we can apply for the grant again, but given the timing of what we need to do, I don't know if waiting another year for another EEA grant for the same project and putting off our culvert repair is the best game plan. So does anyone have any comments?
Those culverts aren't getting better. If we don't get to them and reline them before they're totally destroyed with the dry rot, we may have a bigger problem on our hands and have to replace them rather than reline them. So we've got to get that done sooner the better.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like I said before, and I reemphasize, we've got to complete our work with tie and bond with this budget, period. Yes. And then be prepared for the next budget and know ahead of time what roughly we need for the actual contractor to do the work. And that could be very expensive.
Yes. Yes, and it's going to be very expensive. And that's also one of the things that Kelly Pease and John Vilas were working for through ARPA funds, was to get us a chunk of change to help rehabilitate Little River Levee. And it wouldn't do the entire job, but it would get us well on our way to figuring out what we need to do and establishing the basic parameters and engineering assessments and some of the repairs. Does anyone have any communication? I'm sorry. Does anyone have any observations they would like to make under item 14?
Have you heard from the mayor at all or anybody from City Hall relative to a new member on our commission?
I have not. I did. There was something, I'm not sure how or why it happened. I know that Ed Osowski's application, for whatever reason, I forwarded an email with the application and it was filed by Ed Osowski. For whatever reason, it never made it to where it needed to go. I'm not sure why. It was just, I just sent a letter of recommendation again, and the city clerk's office was working to get that sent in as soon as possible. I'm not sure. I know Kathy Hillman had also applied to the commission, and I'm not sure where that stands either. I have not heard anything. And I,
Well, she's running for school committee. So
Yes.
I think
she's
never
here,
mind.
actually. I'll open the floor. Kathy, if there's anything you'd like to say, if you know anything about your application.
I have not heard anything, nothing at all.
Okay.
So,
Um,
you're right, Jack. I am running for school committee, but there's 6 people running now. So who knows? I mean, there's 3 positions open, so I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with that. Can I just ask a question? When you're talking about these contracts, is it for 1 year?
it's a 3-year contract, but renews every year. It comes up for discussion for renewal. So
Okay.
it's 3 years total, but 1 year at a time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So Kathy, what I will recommend to you is reach out to the city clerk's office, see if that went forward, because this is what Ed did. See if that went forward. If not, we can address it. I'm sure
Okay.
the city clerk's office will look into it and find out if it was forwarded or not.
Okay.
I'm hoping that it didn't have the same have the same issue, but I know you and Ed Osowski both sent your applications in pretty close in timing wise, so it's possible that yours also suffering the same fate.
How does it get lost down there?
I don't know. I know it was before the holiday and there was a lot of shuffling going on, but I can't speak to it.
Yeah, okay. I'll check.
Okay, thank you. Let me know, Kathy.
Okay, I will.
If I need to do a letter of recommendation again, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Observations.
I took some pictures of the levee after it was groomed on the Westfield River.
Yep.
Is it okay if I post those on the Flood Commission?
Absolutely. You're welcome to do that.
And
Absolutely.
say your taxpayers at work? Your taxpayers' money at work?
Tax dollars at work, yes.
That's okay, I do that?
Yeah, by all means, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, observations. So does anyone have any other observations?
Powder Mill Brook, I looked at it the other day. It's groomed, and Joe even took down one patch of the dreaded cattails down there.
Nice. Nice. I know he was trying to help us out down there.
Yeah.
Also, yesterday I went to the Conservation Commission, and Scott Hathaway was talking about getting rid of the knotweed at Whitney Field by the river there.
Okay.
I just wanted you to be aware that that's what he's going to be working on.
Okay.
And he's going to be cutting and then putting a chemical down.
Perfect.
And Meredith knew all about it. So
Yep.
I just wanted you to know.
I appreciate that information, Kathy. I was not aware of that. And that's good because that knotweed is all over the place. And it's very invasive. So I know there's other efforts going on to get rid of the knotweed, and then of course bittersweet is its own nightmare. So knotweed's a little bit easier to manage than bittersweet. But
Yeah. Is it true that upstream that people just deposit their stormwater, as I want to put it, into the river untreated? Is that true?
I don't know. I can't speak to what other municipalities are doing.
Okay.
I'm sure if that was the case, DEP would be involved, and Mass DEP would probably have answers. I can't speak to it, but I can't imagine they're just releasing water untreated in normal circumstances without some repercussions from DEP.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So, Mark Goodness, do you have any observations other than Powder Mill?
No, the pumps look good also when I was down there the other day.
Okay, good.
And yeah.
Did you also? I mentioned this to Casey before you had logged on. Did you notice any new beaver activity anywhere in your travels, or no?
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
The trees all look good. I haven't seen any sign on the trees or any dams. I'll have
Okay.
to take another look down through Timber Swamp.
Gotcha. Yeah, I took a swing through there the other day. I actually had to go pick up a bumper for my truck, and at one of our local businesses, they had done some sandblasting and painting of it, and very good job, by the way. And I drove around the headwaters of Arm Brook, and I didn't see anything new. So I didn't know if anyone else had seen anything else, but that's always a concern that they're going to somewhere in the woods build a giant dam, and that of course becomes a problem for everybody. So okay, got somebody logging in, Kevin Birian, not sure who he is. Let's see. Other observations. Jack, do you have any observations you'd like to make?
No, I already said all
Okay.
I'm gonna say.
Okay. So other observations I've made. So as Jack alluded to at Little River Levee, we do have some new erosion issues. It's been ongoing, but it's progressing. So in the last bout of flooding that we had from all the excessive rain, the river's come down to a normal level. Little River has come down to a normal level, but going down and looking, there's now one of the giant pieces of trap rock that was what was on the levee is now in the river because it's eroded away along the protective berm, if you will, just upstream from the conduits, the drainage conduits. So it had fallen into the river. I noticed that the other day. There's another large one that is kind of like a demarcation line of the riprap, pretty sizable piece of trap rock, and it's now on a teetering edge, if you will. It wouldn't take all that much for it to fall down. So I'm very much anticipating Army Corps' report, which should be coming soon. I know I talked with Jennifer Todd a few weeks back, and she said that since we were one of the first inspections that Army Corps did this year in this area, she didn't expect it would take too long for the finalized report to come down. So we may see it in the next few weeks, and it'd be interesting to see what they have to say about the erosion. But that is something we definitely will have to address with that concrete head wall to shore that up in the drainage conduit repair. And I did notice that further upstream from that, some of the toe, Jack had alluded to it, some of the toe further upstream is also eroded further in toward the levee. So not the best situation, but that's the natural progression of things. And that's all part of general maintenance on a levee. Rivers do what they do, and it did it in '83. It's doing it again. So other things I've noticed, again, I'll say, what Joe and Ed Lubelzik have been working on. They are doing a great job cleaning up that piece. Looking at the lay of the land, that was another thing we had briefly discussed with the clearing of this, is that restricting access to levee and possibly purchasing a gate, an access gate, putting it on the top of the levee as the means of access and egress from the levee for contractors and city personnel. But looking at the lay of the land, I don't think a gate would be the best solution right now. So Casey, I don't know what you have for availability of, say, Jersey barriers, rocks, concrete barriers, but we'll definitely need your assistance on putting up a few more barriers up there.
Yeah, well, once they complete the work, we'll see what we can do about securing the site.
All right, thank you, Casey. Oh, and one other thing, Joe Lubelzik, when he was going through all that, and we know there's a lot of debris and trash that people have thrown in there over the years, he found a section of fence, metal fence, that was I don't know, underneath all that junk brush and whatnot, we couldn't see it, but he found it. It was a nice old piece of wire metal fence from, I'm guessing, 30s, 40s, maybe 50s time frame, all folded up. We brought it down to the DPW. And one other thing I want to thank you for, Casey, is allowing Ed and Joe use of the DPW facilities to secure their equipment overnight. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, it's common practice. We do this with many contractors, so.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
just want
no
I
problem.
just wanted to thank you because they're having their equipment having previously been vandalized. It's very helpful to them, and I appreciate that. So, and that's it. We have any more observations?
What about your 2 tires, Al?
What's that?
What about the 2 tires when we were working down there that got left off?
Oh yeah. So while Mark Goodness, my Ed, was Ed with us? Yeah, Ed Osowski was
Yeah.
there helping, assisting us, and myself. We stopped to take a break, and we heard somebody pull up along the road on Ponders Hollow Road, just over to Levy. Didn't think anything of it. I go back down there, and while we were there doing the work, somebody had tossed 2 tires into the woods. So, oh God, it's unbelievable what people do. So
It's a routine problem area. It's an illegal dumping site. We've got about a dozen of them in the city, and we clean them twice a year. It's just,
yeah,
there's not a lot of traffic down there. It's kind of hidden away, it's tucked away, and it's illegal dumping. It's rampant throughout the city.
yeah, unfortunately. I tell you though, and those weren't the only ones. After the clearing, there was a few more tires that we that obviously been there for a long time. But the Earth Day cleanup, and I know we've got a fall cleanup. Hopefully, assuming this new strain of COVID doesn't create problems, we'll have another fall cleanup. And me personally, I'm going to target Little River Levee area and see what we can do there, because God knows there's a lot of debris down there. Absolutely,
We can
Casey.
coordinate to get all that stuff recovered.
Thank you, Casey. And that's it. That's all I got, folks. So with that, I'd like to call for a motion for adjournment.
7 p.m. Move to adjourn.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second the motion.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, you got to do roll call.
Yeah, that's right. Roll call vote. Jack Leary.
Yes.
Mark Goodness.
Yes.
And last but not least, Al Jagir. Yes. Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to Peter Coles for